All right, good morning, folks. Everything new under the sun. Breaking news, Israel has launched a ground invasion of Lebanon. I said this was coming. I said that, when they take it communications, they're getting ready for a ground war. And whether or not Israel meant to do it as early as they did, it seems like their timing was sped up a little bit here as some Lebanese, some Hezbollah members were maybe getting suspicious of some of the pagers or some of the communications that they had, some of the radios. Possibly Israel had to, blow them up prematurely. Regardless, they are going to a ground invasion. Israel has named the new cross-border offensive Operation Northern Arrows. IDF troops have begun limited, localized, and targeted raids against Hezbollah terror targets in the border area of southern Lebanon. So they're basically dipping their feet into the water. Lebanon, or Hezbollah rather, has many members in the hospital from the pager explosions, and its leadership is gone. Nasrallah and other leadership and IRGC, and so they're in disarray. They're in absolute disarray. Remember, how do you know World War III has started? When they take out your communications. That's what they did there. In accordance with the decision of the political echelon a few hours ago, the IDF began limited, localized, and targeted ground raids. Now, they don't know the extent of the tunnel system. Apparently, to get Nasrallah, the news is, if you've been following, the Popular Report and others, they used a set of chained bunker busting bombs. So basically they dropped one, and they weren't sure how far it would go down in the bunker. You never know until you use it. And if it went down 30 feet, that may not have been enough. Apparently this was 60 feet below the earth, below the surface that Nasrallah was in. And so you drop another one. So you drop kind of one after the other. One blows up the first 30 feet, the next one blows up the next 30 feet, and so on. So they chain them together. And it's, again, another sort of ingenious method to attack bunkers that we hadn't really thought about. We thought, well, use one bunker buster bomb, and that, if it didn't work, it didn't work. But to chain many together is, again, just another move, another thing we didn't think about. I don't know if anybody really thought about using it in that manner. And the IDF, Mossad, the Jews are some of the most intelligent people. In terms of their minds, they're incredibly smart, incredibly intelligent, and inventive. And they are blessed by God as a people, I believe biblically. And so they come up with some of these ingenious methods, and like the pager thing, that was an incredible intelligence operation. Anyways, ground invasion has started. Keep an eye on it. By the way, I was going to look at a map. They've taken out Hamas. Remember Psalm 83, inner circle, letter circle? They've taken out Hamas. They've now going after Hezbollah. They are also now bombing the Houthis in Yemen. So this inner circle of nations is now expanding greater and greater. Who is next? Look for the targeting of Syria, maybe even destruction of Damascus, which is Isaiah 17 prophecy, which has never yet occurred. So as Israel continues to take out the enemies closest to it, and clear the way for larger offensives, look for them to start hitting Syria. And when they start hitting Syria, that's the hook in the jaw. I believe that the destruction of Damascus, Isaiah 17, I believe that's the hook in the jaw. That's what finally brings Russia, Turkey, Persia into the battle, as Persia, Iran still hasn't backed up Hezbollah, still hasn't committed to going to war. I think Hezbollah assumed that, if they were attacked, that Iran would come in and battle them, but that's not the case. So Isaiah 17, I think, is the next prophetic event, a prophetic target, if you will, of the IDF of Israel as they're going to war. It's all out now. They have no idea if Persia is going to get into it. Now, U.S. is standing there with flotillas of aircraft carriers and ships, and basically warning Iran not to step into this, but. I think the next prophetic event is Isaiah 17, destruction of Damascus. So we're looking straight down the barrel of that. And once that happens, again, we have the hook in the jaw of Ezekiel 38 and 39. So Psalm 83, Isaiah 17, and then Ezekiel 38, where the Gog and Magog come and attack Israel as they get fed up. And of course, the whole world turns a blind eye, because the whole world at that point is not supporting Israel. So interesting, and you have to have the whole world's opinion swayed as well at that point in time. All right, let's go to Hurricane Helen, which has Helen, which has just occurred in the United States. Now, this is a great case for communications, and I've said it before. You need FRSs, Family Radio Service. You need CB radios. You need walkie-talkies of any sort. Doesn't matter how cheaply made, as long as you have some stored away, because what's coming out is stories of complete devastation, and the fact that people have no communication. Again, when World War III starts, you'll know it because communication goes down. When a massive natural disaster happens, you pretty much know it because communications go out, right? And you have no idea what's happening. Death toll is 130 as supplies arrive to isolated communities by a plane here. So let me just double check that you can actually see. Yes, okay. Now, this is a story from one amateur radio guy. This is Thomas Witherspoon, and he had a bunch of ham radios. His community was completely cut off. Their roads are impassable. A bridge to get out is impassable. They have old folks who need medications and food. And he is left basically, chainsawing his way out of his driveway and traveling on bicycle to the nearest town, which is completely destroyed. He has an image here of they are on bicycles, but the roadways are completely destroyed, as you can see. And here's the local town in Swanoa, and it's destroyed, and people don't have communication. So what did he do? He went and took his old they happen to be his old ham radios, and because it's an emergency and it's a disaster, you don't need a license to operate them when lives are at risk. So he handed them out to his neighbors, and they can all communicate. They have daily nets. I think once an hour, people check in, say, I need this, I need that. This is what people don't have. And this is what will come in the last days. Communication, you at least need a way to listen. You need AM/FM radio. Most people only have AM/FM radios in their cars. You need to have multiple AM/FM radios. You don't know if it's going to be destroyed. You don't know which one is going to be best and which one's going to run on batteries the longest. And you need this in a disaster. So he tells a story basically of helping residents out and being able to communicate with ham radio when no one else can. And there's stories coming out of the path of Helene, where people are asking amateur radio operators to come and help. So this is an important thing. Have multiple ways to communicate, and be ready. FRS is the easiest way. You can go down and you can buy a 2-pack, a 4-pack from your local Walmart. And if you just need to communicate across the road or even a kilometer down the road, no troubles for FRS. One of the most easiest, cheapest things you can do to prepare. Because you're in an emergency, if you don't have gas, you may not have to store it, but as long as you have a neighbor who you can make deals with, you can barter with, you're going to be able to get what you need. So, important to have communication, again, because the first thing they're going to remove in World War III, in natural disasters, in whatever emergency comes up, the first thing that goes down is communication. So be prepared. Now, what I've been working on in the background, I've been very busy. I've been working on fixing motherboards, surface mount, diodes, capacitors, that sort of thing, real techie sort of stuff. But when things go sideways, what's going to happen? There's not going to be anybody that's going to be able to fix electronics for you. So if you have a basic knowledge of fixing of electronics, something breaks, a radio breaks, and you're able to go in there and fix that radio, then you're going to be very, very valuable. That is one of the most valuable skills to have, to be able to fix something that's broken. Not a lot of people know how to do it. I'm just learning it myself, and this is one of those preparedness things. You're never too young or too old to learn how to repair something, to learn a little bit of plumbing, to learn a bit of mechanic stuff on your vehicle. For example, you can change brakes, you can change your oil, basic stuff. Start there, and then how to start diagnosing, no power in your electronics. And so I was able to fix a a motherboard that I had and get a particular backup device working. My computer's sitting on top of it right now as I'm kind of monitoring it, but I'm learning. Soldering skills, that sort of thing, is going to be very valuable and key when things go sideways, when disaster comes. And folks, we are getting close to World War III. What do you think causes people to accept an antichrist and accept the mark of the beast? Well, they're desperate. They probably have no food, no water. They have probably very little way to communicate, and they're desperate for a government to come and save them. You can be self-sufficient. You can be self-reliant. Now, the government doesn't like you to be self-sufficient, self-reliant, because that means you don't need them, and that means they're not going to get as much tax revenue from you, right? Or at least you would vote that way. And so the government generally, as a whole, is scared of people who are self-sufficient, self-reliant. And this is just the part of the stuff you need to learn. What are people in Israel doing? They probably don't have much here. Communications could go down at any time if Hezbollah strikes, a cell tower, whatever it may be. So they need radios. These people know how to be self-sufficient, self-reliant. They have bomb shelters. How many people in the West have bomb shelters so you can get away from natural disasters or other events, even away from a marauding band of burglars or whatever. What's going to happen as these communities are without access? There's going to be theft, and a lot of people are going to start stealing simply because they feel they have no other option. So otherwise good people who wouldn't steal in good times are going to resort to theft to get energy, to get gasoline, whatever it may be. This is what you need to be prepared for, folks. You need to be prepared to give up maybe the most obvious stuff that you have so that people don't get desperate and just say, well, if you won't give it to me, I'm going to take it from you. And things could get violent. So everything kind of folds into everything else in terms of disaster planning. And when there is a disaster, you need to realize that regular people aren't going to be regular people anymore. They're going to be desperate. They're going to be looking for what you have. They're going to be looking to steal. At first, it's going to be the kind of the worst of the worst people. And as people get more hungry, it's going to go up the chain. A father who has hungry children, he's going to be going up and down. Maybe with some sort of a device to hurt you, and he's going to be going up and down the street looking for food because he's desperate, right? So that's what you need to be prepared for. And it's not fun. The last days are going to be hard. I'm just saying, get prepared. Use your brain. God gave it to you. Learn skills. Be prepared so that you have something to offer when things get really, really bad, as in the case of this particular hurricane, which just wiped some communities off the map in the United States. Thanks for watching. I'll leave it there. We'll see you in the next video.